Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to our Bhagavad Gita study group, broadcast from the Bhakti Yoga Institute in London. Tonight we're looking at chapter 11, Vishvarup Darshan Yoga, the vision of the universal form. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakuram Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha. Mukam karoti vatshalam pangam langayate girim Dhyat kripa tamaham mande Sri Gurum dinataranam. We can begin hearing Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj chant the shlokas of this verse in Sanskrit.
Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ekadashodhyaya Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga. Arjuna Vacha Madanugrahaya Paramang Gujjamadhyatma Sangitam Jatta Yuktam Vachastena Mohoyang Vigata Mama Bhavapayo Hibhutanang Sruto Vistarasho Maya Tvatta Kamalapatrakha Mahatmam Apichapayam Evametat yathathatvam atmanam parameshvara drashtumichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottama mannase jadi tat chakkan maya drashtumiti prabhu yogeshvara tato me tvam darshayatmanamabhyam. Sri Bhagavan uvacha pasya partha rupani Shata Shotha Sahasrasha Nana Vidhani Divyani Nana Varana Kritini Cha Pasyadittan Vasuni Rudran Ashino Marutastatha Bahunna Drishta Purbani Pasyascharjani Bharata Ihaikasthan Jagat Krishnam Pasyadya Sacharacharam Mama Dehi Gurha Kesa Jachanna Drashtumichhasi Natumang Sakkasi Drashtum Aninaiva Sachakshusha Dibbang Dadamite Chakshu Pasyame Yogameshara Kanjayu Vacha Eva Mukta Tato Rajan Mahajogeshwaro Hari Darshayamasa Parthaya Paramang Rupamaisharam Anika Bhaktranayam, Anika Dibhutadarshanam, Anika Dibbabharanang, Dibbyaniko Tatayudham, Dibbamallam, Baradharang, Dibbagandhanulepanam, Sarvascharjamayang Devam, Manantang Vishatu Mukam, Divi Surya Sahasrasya, Bhavedi Juga Padottita. Jadi bhasadrishi sasyad bhasastashamad manah tatraikastang jagat kritsnang pravibhakto manikadha apasyad deva devasya sarire pandavastada tatasya vismaya visto dhishtaro dhananjaya pranamya shirasa devam kritanjaliravasata. Arjuna vacha Pasyami devanstava devadehi sarvangstata bhuta vishesha sanghan Brahmanami sankamalasanasta mrishināngscha sarvanuragascha divyan Aneka bahudara bhakta netram Pasyami tang sarvatunantarupam Nantang namadhang na punastabadi Pasyami Visheshara Vishwarupa Kritinang Gadinang Chakrinang Cha Tejurasing Sarvatu Diptimantam पश्यामि तां दुर्निरीक्षं समन्तात् दीप्तानलार्कद्युतिमप्रमेयम् तमक्षरं परमं वेदितव्यं त्वामस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानम् त्वामव्यय शाश्वत धर्म गुप्ता सनातनं स्तं पुरुषो मतो मे अनादिमध्यान्तमनंत वीर्यमे अनंत बाहुं शशिशूर्यनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुताशवक्त्रं सतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम् द्यावा पृथिव्योरिदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं तयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वा दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमिदं तवोग्रं लोकत्रयं प्रवर्तितं महात्मन् अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचिद्भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्ति तुक्ता महर्षि सिद्ध संघा स्तुवन्ति तां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च सद्या विश्वेशिनो मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वजक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्घा वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रं महाबाहो बहुबाहुरूपादं बहूदरं बहुदंष्ट्राकरालं दृष्ट्वा लोकाः प्रव्रथितास्तथाहं नभस्पृशं दीप्तमनेकवर्णं व्यत्याननं दीप्तविशालनेत्रं दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्रथितान्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दामि समं च विष्णो दंष्ट्राकरालानि च ते मुखानि दृष्टैव कालानलसन्निभानि दिशो न जाने न लभे च शरमः प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास अमी च त्वां धृतराष्ट्रस्य पुत्रा सर्वे सहैवावनिपालसङ्घै भीष्मो द्रोणः सूतपुत्रस्तथासौ सहास्मदीयैरपि योधमुखैः वक्त्राणि ते तरमाना विशन्ति दंष्ट्राकरालानि भयानकानि केचिद् विलग्ना दर्शनान्तरेषु संदृश्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गैः यथा नदीनां बहवोऽम्बुवेगाः समुद्रमेवाभिमुखा द्रवन्ति तथा तवामि नरलोकवीरा विशन्ति वक्त्रान्नभितो ज्वलन्ति यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतङ्गा विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकास्तवापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धवेगाः ललिच्छसे कृशमानः समन्ताल्लोकान् समग्रान् वदनेर्जलद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत् समग्रं भासस्तवोग्राः प्रतपन्ति विष्णो आख्याहि मे को भवानुग्ररूपो नमस्तुते देववर प्रसीद विज्ञातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यं न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम् श्रीभगवानुवाच कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्य ईडितेऽपि ताङ्नो भविष्यन्ति सर्वे येव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योद्धाः तस्मात् तमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क् राज्यं समृद्धं मयैवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सद्वशाचिन् द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यानपि योधवीरान् मया हतांस्तं जहिमावतिष्ठा युद्धस्य जेतासि रणे स्वपथिनान्। संजय उवाच एतत् श्रुत्वा वचनं केशवस्य कृताञ्जलिर्वेपमानः किरीटी नमस्कृत्वा भूय एवाह कृष्णं सगद्गदं भीत भीत प्रणम्य। अर्जुन उवाच स्थाने ऋषिकेश तव प्रकीर्त्या जगत् प्रहिष्यत् नुरज्यते च रक्ष्यांसि भीतानि दिशो द्रवन्ति सर्वे नमस्सन्ति च सिद्धसङ्घा। कसमाच्च तेन न मेरन्महात्मन् गरीयसे ब्रह्मणोऽप्यादिकर्ते अनंत देवेश जगन्निवास तमक्षरं सदसत्तत्परं यत् तमादिदेवा पुरुषः पुराणस्तमस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानम्। वेत्तासि वेदं वेद्यं च परमं परं च धाम त्वया ततं विश्वमनन्तरूप वायुर्जमोऽग्नि वरुणः शशाङ्क प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च नमो नमस्तेऽस्तु सहस्रकृत्य पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते नमः पुरस्तादथ पृष्ठतस्ते नमस्तुते सर्वत एव सर्वः अनन्तवीर्यामितविक्रमस्तं सर्वं समाप्नोषि ततोऽसि सर्वः। सखेति मत्वा प्रसभं चतुक्तं हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति अजानता महिमानं तवेदं मया प्रमादात् प्रणयेन वापि यच्चावहासार्थमसत्कृतोषि विहारसज्जासनभोजनेषु एकोऽथवाप्यच्युत तत्समक्षं तत्क्षामये त्वामहम् अप्रमेयम्। पीतासि लोकस्य चराचरस्य तमस्य पूज्यश्च गुरुर्गरीयान् न तत्समोऽस्त्यधिकः कुतोऽन्न लोकत्रयेऽप्यप्रतिमप्रभावः। तस्मात् प्रणम्य प्रणिधाय कायं प्रसादये त्वामहमीशमिड्ढं पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्यु प्रियः प्रियायार्हसि देव सोढुम्। अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शय देवरूपं प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास। किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्त मिच्छामि तं द्रष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते। श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं परं दर्शितम् आत्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमद्यं जन्मे तदन्येन न दृष्टपूर्वं न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनैर्न दानैर्न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपं शक्य अहं लोके द्रष्टुं तदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर मा ते वथा मा च विमूढभावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमिदृङ्नमेदं वपेतभिः प्रीतमनः पुनस्तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य। संजय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा शकं रूपं दर्शयामास भूय आश्वासयामास च भीतमेनं भूत्वा पुनः सम्मवपुर्महात्मा अर्जुन उवाच दृष्टेरगमानुषं रूपं तव सौमं जनार्दन इदानीमस्मि संवृत्य सचेता प्रकृतिं गतः श्रीभगवानुवाच सुदर्शमिदं रूपं दृष्टवानसि मम देवाय पश्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनाकाङ्क्षिणा नाहं वेदैर्न तपसा न दानेन न चेच्छया शक्यं एवं विधुर्द्रष्टुं दृष्टवानसि मम भक्त्या तनन्नया शक्य अहमेवं विधुर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्तेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तप मत्कर्म कृन्मत्परमो मद्भक्तः सङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यः स मामेति पाण्डव इति श्रीमहाभारते शतसाहस्र्यां संहितायां वैयासिकं भीष्मपर्वणि श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवाद विश्वरूप दर्शन योग नाम एकादशोऽध्याय।
Chapter 11, Vishvarupa Darshana Yoga, the vision of the universal form. Arjuna said, "By your grace you have revealed your hidden treasure to me, and my ignorance of your supreme self has been dispelled. O beautiful lotus-eyed Lord, I have heard your elaborate description of the manifestation and dissolution of the living beings, and I have also heard your description of your inexhaustible glories. O Lord, you have perfectly described your supreme self. Yet, O Purushottam, I wish to see this glorious form of yours. O Yogeshwar, I implore thee, if you consider it possible for me to see it, please reveal your imperishable form to me." The Supreme Lord said, "O Partha, behold my innumerable divine forms of many kinds, colors, and shapes. O Bharat, behold the gods, Adityas, Vashus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumars, and Vayus. Behold many wondrous forms hitherto unseen. O vigilant Arjuna, behold in one place in this form of mine the whole universe of moving and stationary beings, or anything else you desire to see. But you cannot see me with these eyes, so I give you divine vision. Behold my divine opulences." Sanjaya said, "O King Dhritarashtra, speaking thus to Arjuna, the omnipotent Supreme Lord Sri Hari revealed his magnificent almighty form. The Lord revealed his effulgent, omnipresent, all-wonderful, universal form of many mouths and eyes, many marvels, effulgent dress and garlands, anointed with celestial fragrances, many dazzling ornaments and gleaming upraised weapons. The brilliance of 1,000 suns appearing simultaneously in the sky might resemble the effulgence of this great universal form of the Lord. In that moment, there on the battlefield, Arjuna saw the entire multifaceted universe in one, within the body of Lord Sri Krishna, the supreme God of gods. Astonished, the hairs of his body standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head in obeisance to Lord Krishna. Placing his palms together, he prayed. Arjuna said, "O Lord, I see within your body the demigods, all species of life, the celestial sages and serpents, Mahadev and Lord Brahma, seated on the lotus flower. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, in all directions I see your infinite form of many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes. I see no beginning, middle, or end of you. I see you everywhere with crown, club, and disc, a mass of effulgence illuminating all, like the blazing light of the sun, difficult to behold and incomprehensible. You are the supreme absolute truth, knowable by the Vedas. You are the supreme reservoir of the universe and the imperishable preserver of the eternal religion described in the Vedas. I now understand you to be the eternal supreme personality. I see you without beginning, middle, or end, infinitely powerful with countless arms. Your eyes are the sun and the moon. Your mouth is blazing fire, and the entire universe is seared by your radiance. You alone pervade all directions and all space between heaven and earth. O gracious one, seeing this wondrous and fearsome form of yours, all the inhabitants of the three worlds are terrified. All the demigods are entering into you, some fearfully offering you prayers with cupped hands. The great sages and perfected beings are singing your glories in beautiful verses, saying, "May all auspiciousness come to the world." The Rudras, Adityas, Vasus, Sadyas, Vishvadevas, Ashini Kumars, Vayus, deities of the forefathers, the Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras, and Siddhas, indeed, they all marvel to behold you. O mighty armed one, seeing your vast form of many mouths, eyes, arms, legs, feet, and bellies, fearful with its many teeth, all beings, including myself, are afflicted with fear. O Vishnu, seeing your sky-touching, dazzling form of myriad colors, with gaping mouth and huge fiery eye, my heart trembles with fear, and I cannot find equilibrium or peace. Seeing your mouths resembling the fire of the universal annihilation, ghastly with their terrible teeth, I am distraught and have lost my bearings. Be gracious, O Lord of the gods, O abode of the universe. The sons of Dhritarashtra, their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, and Karna, along with our chief warriors, all are rushing into your dreadful mouths of terrible teeth. Some can be seen with their heads caught and crushed by your teeth. As many rivers flow towards the ocean to finally enter into it, so these heroes of the world are entering your flaming mouths that illuminate all around. As moths are impelled to their death in blazing fire, similarly all the worlds are helplessly rushing to certain death, entering into your mouths. O Vishnu, with your flaming mouths you are relishing, devouring all the worlds. You are all-pervading, glaring effulgence searing the entire universe. O fearsome one, please tell me who you are. O Lord of the gods, I offer obeisance unto you. Please be gracious. I wish to fully know you, the origin, as I cannot understand your actions. The Supreme Lord said, I am time, the mighty vanquisher of all, and I am engaged in destroying the worlds. Even if you do not slay them, not one of the warriors in the enemy party will be spared. So arise, be glorious, conquer the enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. All these warriors have already been killed by me. O Savasachin, you be but an instrument. Slay Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the many warriors who are as good as slain by me. Fear not, fight. You will be victorious over the enemy. Sanjay said, hearing these words of the Lord, the trembling Arjuna bowed his head, placing the palms of his hands together in prayer. With a fearful heart, bowing again, he spoke falteringly. Arjuna said, O Rishikesh, it is fitting that the whole world joyfully sings your glories with love. The demons flee, scattering in all directions, and the perfected beings offer obeisance to you. And, O gracious one, how would they not bow to you, the worshipable creator of even the creator, Lord Brahma? O infinite God of gods, O abode of the universe, you are the manifest, the unmanifest, the supreme imperishable. You are the eternal origin of all the demigods and the only refuge of this universe. You alone are the knower and the knowable and the supreme abode. O Lord of infinite forms, the entire universe is pervaded by you. You are the father and grandfather of all beings. You are air, death, fire, the ocean and the moon. Obeisances unto you thousands of times, again and yet again. O embodiment of all existences, my obeisances unto you from the front, behind, and all directions. O Lord of unlimited potency and immeasurable prowess, you pervade all, therefore you are all. Due to the familiarity of affection, I have rashly addressed you, Krishna, Jadava, or my friend. Ignorant of this, your greatness, O infallible Lord, whatever disrespect I have shown you in jest, while relaxing, resting, sitting, or eating, either alone with you or in company, I beg you, the inconceivable, to please forgive me for that. You are the Father of all living beings, the worshipable and most glorious teacher. You have no equal within these three worlds. How can there be anyone greater than you, O Lord of unrivaled power? So I offer my prostrate obeisance unto you, my Lord, and worshipable Master, praying for your mercy. Please excuse me as a father, friend, or lover overlooks the mistakes of his son, companion, or beloved. O Lord, my heart is joyful to see your hitherto unseen universal form. Yet I am afraid, O God of gods, shelter of the universe. Be gracious upon me and appear in the form I saw before. I wish to see you again wearing a crown and holding a club and disc. O thousand-armed Lord, O universal form, please appear in that four-armed form. The Supreme Lord said, O Arjuna, to grant you my special favor, I have today revealed this effulgent, universal, infinite, and primeval form by my divine potency. This supreme universal form has never been seen by anyone before. O Arjuna, most valiant of the Kauravas, no one in this human plane can see this form of mine that you have seen, neither by study of the Vedas, nor Vedic sacrifices, nor charity, nor rituals, nor severe austerity. Be not bewildered by seeing this terrible aspect of mine. Do not fear. Now with a peaceful heart, behold my four-armed form once again. Sanjay said, speaking thus to Arjuna, Krishna again revealed his own form. And once again, he revealed his charming personality, the most merciful Sri Krishna of human feature, adorned with yellow cloth, Kaustubha jewel, and Vajayanti garland, thus reassuring the fearful Arjuna. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, seeing your beautiful form of human feature, I am calm and composed once again. The Supreme Lord said, O Arjuna, it is very rare that anyone sees this, my form which you now behold. Even the gods constantly aspire for a glimpse of this human-like divine form. Neither by study of the Vedas, nor by austerity, charity, and sacrifice can anyone see my eternal human-like form of the sweet Absolute as you see me. O Arjuna, conqueror of the enemy, only by pure devotion is it possible to know me, see me, and enter my divine pastimes. O Arjuna, my devotee who gives up all attachment and whose heart is totally free from enmity to all beings, who serves me wholeheartedly, knowing me as the Supreme, reaches me. End of chapter 11, the vision of the universal form, from the conversation of Sri Krishna and Arjuna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, the yoga scripture of transcendental knowledge in the Bhishma Parva of Sri Mahabharata, the holy scripture revealed by Srila Vyasadeva in 100,000 verses. The summary of the chapter then. The Virat Rupa, or the universal form of the Lord, is described in this chapter. The Lord with eyes, ears, faces, arms and feet, marvels, dresses, ornaments and divine weapons everywhere, shows his all-pervading universal form of the Supreme Lord. Arjuna beholds all beings emanating from the Lord and simultaneously entering his mouths and are completely absorbed in him. He is unable to perceive any beginning, middle or end to this Virat Rupa. Seeing this, Arjuna loses his equilibrium, and in great fear he observes the assembled great warriors, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and all the other kings and chiefs of both sides, entering the mouths of the universal form, and are crushed between his terrible jaws. Overwhelmed with fear in seeing this dreadful form, Arjuna prays to the Lord and entreats him to withdraw this frightful Virat Rupa and again assume the agreeable, human-like form that was familiar to him. Thereafter the Lord consoles Arjuna by firstly showing his four-armed Vishnu form and then his two-armed form of reality, the beautiful Shyamasundar, which even a glance of that form is coveted by the gods like Brahma and Shiva. No amount of Vedic study, performance of sacrifice, giving in charity, or severe austerity is sufficient to behold that all-attractive human-like form. But he who worships him with single-minded devotion, bears no malice to anyone, and who has transcended the dualities of the world, is enabled to realize his eternal, transcendental, all-blissful, ever-youthful, exquisitely beautiful form of Sri Krishna Chandra in the divine realm. The acronym to remember the chapter is Rupa. The Sanskrit word Rupa means form. One of the biggest theological debates among great thinkers has gone on for centuries. The question over whether God is personal or impersonal. Some argue that accepting a personal form of God amounts to anthropomorphic projection of our qualities onto him. Krishna, however, confirms in numerous passages of the Bhagavad Gita that he manifests in many ways, impersonally and personally. He also categorically states that the personal is the original form and the basis of the impersonal. This is further confirmed in this chapter, after Krishna displays another of his innumerable forms, known as the Vishwarup, the universal form. So letter R, request, verses 1 to 4. Arjuna requests to see the universal form. One may ask why he makes such a request, since he can see Krishna and is completely satisfied, as confirmed in the previous chapter. Clearly, Arjuna doesn't have any personal agenda in seeing the universal form, but he requests the vision for other reasons. Firstly, he wants to prove without doubt Krishna's position as the source of everything, and secondly, set a standard for anyone in the future who claims to be God to show similar opulence. Unfortunately, our modern world is nevertheless plagued with so-called incarnations and God-men claiming to be the latest saviors of society by dint of the fact that they have mustered up some popularity or mastered a few magic tricks. Universal form, verses 5 to 14. Krishna grants Arjuna's request and shows his universal form. While God is the source of this universe, he is simultaneously the universe itself, in the sense that he is present within his own creation. For example, in my writings you can probably understand something about me. The effect of writing tells us something about the cause, the author, and in that sense the cause is present within the effect. Similarly, God is the source of the universe, but is simultaneously encompassing the universe. That is the universal form. It's not that God is the sum of the parts, but rather that everything is contained within God. In that fearful vision of the universal form, Arjuna could see all living beings, all material objects, and the entirety of past, present, and future. P. Prayers of Arjuna, verses 15 to 45. Arjuna falteringly prays to the universal form, awed by the greatness of Krishna, and begs forgiveness for having previously treated him with familiarity and friendship. Most religious traditions do not go beyond this majestic understanding of God, God who is the Creator, the all-knowing and the infallible. It often leads to a fearful exchange with God, lacking intimacy, sweetness, and personal relationship. Having seen enough, Arjuna anxiously requests Krishna to once again reveal his two-armed form so that he can again relish the intimacy of that interaction. And A, armed form, verses 46 to 55. Arjuna requests to see the Manusharup, the human-like form of Krishna, around whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, and whose graceful threefold bending form attracts the minds of his devotees. Ancient Sanskrit texts described Krishna as Raso Vaisaha, the very embodiment of affectionate relationships, loving relish, and transcendental sweetness. God is a person who is full of color, character, and bliss. He knows how to have a good time and is much more interested in relishing the sweetness of pure love than the ritualistic worship of those who approach him in awe and reverence. There we are. Everyone is sufficiently awed by, even by the description, not to speak of actually seeing that.
We have some questions, but I just did want to check if anyone here has.
Yes.
I see that in this chapter, Arjuna has asked, or he has expressed quite a lot, like half of the verses is like he has spoken. So for us, how, I don't know, I'm just thinking how to express my question. Although Krishna has shown his universal form, why we still like praise so many gods, demigods, and Krishna himself, although Krishna is saying in this book that you meditate on my Vishnu form, you know. So why again we are again binded to Krishna's image to pray him? I don't know if I have expressed my question.
Having seen his
Yes, yeah. So why is he showing us so many different forms of him? And again, we are getting confused.
Well, as I mentioned in the summary and the acronym, that the main reason that Arjuna is requesting this is so that to prove beyond doubt that Krishna is the Supreme Lord of all lords, and that he can show this Virat Rupa, Vishwarup, and no other. And contained within that, all of the devatas, devis, and all of existence. So that there's left no doubt as to who actually Krishna is. But Arjuna also says that this form, this universal form, is terrifying. Basically he's saying, I can't bear to see it anymore. Please show me your original form. And it is the form of Krishna is the original form. And so it is only right and proper that we should meditate on this form of Krishna as Shamasundar. This is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of this universal form and the cause of Vishnu Narayan also. So, and as to why we still worship the other gods and so on, well, that may be many reasons. That would be something that we would need to see on a case-by-case basis. But Krishna himself has said that those who worship the devatas, not knowing that whatever they do or whatever they bestow upon you actually comes from him alone. So actually there is no necessity to worship any god but Krishna. At the same time, we should not think that the devatas, the devis, that they are not of any importance. They are also devotees of the Lord, and their position is worshipable to us. But no one in this universe is as worshipable as Lord Krishna. So if you have the Lord's personal telephone number, well, you're not necessary to go anywhere else to arrange a meeting with him. You can ring him directly. Then this is, the Gita is giving us this advice. Go directly to the Lord, come to the Lord, Krishna. And everything will be, all of your desires, all of your ambitions, all of your both spiritual and material necessities will be met simply by worshipping Lord Krishna alone. So this, after studying Bhagavad Gita, we should be in no doubt about that. And if we had some different idea before, that is necessity. It's not just that we should hear Bhagavad Gita, but we should follow the teachings that Krishna is giving within Bhagavad Gita. It's not just, armchair philosophy, but it should be something that inspires and motivates us to lead a life of Krishna consciousness.
In light of this in light of this beautiful answer, can we ask about the divine sight that Krishna tells Arjuna that he cannot see the universal form with material eyes and grants him divine sight. So in light of this answer, how can we understand the need for divine sight?
Well, actually Krishna says here, this form that I'm showing you now has never been seen before. So this brings up a question actually, because Krishna showed his Vishwarup in the assembly of the Kauravas previously. So we can understand from that that is a different Vishwarup. That it's not stereotyped, first of all. It's not just, repetitious. And we heard that from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, that Krishna's Leela is always going on eternally. But that doesn't mean that it becomes stereotyped or rote, in as much as that it's just an endless repetition of the same thing. So when Krishna came trying to broker peace with the Kauravas, that time Duryodhana conceived of a plan to capture Krishna and put Krishna in chains. And his idea was, if we imprison Krishna, then the Pandavas, they'll lose their enthusiasm to fight. They won't be able to fight if Krishna is not with them. So this was his plan. And when Krishna appeared in that assembly of the Kurus, he had men, Duryodhana had men posted at all the entrances and exits so that they would be able to capture Krishna and then chain him. That was their idea. So being able to understand that, Krishna being the omniscient Lord, then he showed his Vishwarup, but different manifestation of the Vishwarup. And everyone there saw that. And then Krishna said to Duryodhana, so where will you put your chains, Duryodhana? How can you capture me? Here Arjuna is saying, I see no beginning, middle or end. So like that, in everything there. Then where will you put your chains? And anyhow, everyone there in that assembly, they saw this particular manifestation of the Lord's universal form. But Dhritarashtra could not see because he's blind. Then he prayed to Lord Krishna, oh, Krishna, you please remove my blindness just for a moment so that I can also see what everybody else is seeing. Then Krishna replied to him, King, doesn't matter if you can see or not see. If I say you can see me, then you can see me. Then see me. So he granted him the same as he said to Arjuna, you can't see me with your present eyes, but I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. So in the same way, he gave that same grace to Dhritarashtra. You can see me. He didn't need to remove his blindness. If Krishna desires for you to see him, then you can see him. So actually, the whole of our faith or Shraddha in Krishna is a grant of grace in this same respect. When Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev was taken when he fell before Lord Jagannath in the Jagannath temple in a fit of ecstasy and became unconscious, then these kind of exhibitions go on regularly in sacred places, holy places. We even saw it in our own temple. One lady, she used to have like a kind of religious fit whenever she would see the deities of Radha Shyam Sundar. And it goes on everywhere. So, and they know that. So the guards at the Jagannath temple, when they saw Chaitanya Dev fall to the ground in his religious trance, they were ready to pick him up and throw him out as just another pretender. And but when they came to him to do that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was present there, he was the Pandit of the law of the king's court. He was present there. He said, no, not to do that. I can understand that this man's faint in ecstasy is actually real. And he did some tests with cotton wool and all these things. Yes, take him to my house. And very gently they all took him to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And anyway, Sarvabhauma thought, oh, this young man, he's very beautiful and young and a new sannyasi, but his sannyas is not of a very high order. So I can upgrade his sannyas and teach him Vedanta. This was his idea. Anyway, then with him was one devotee of the Lord, Gopinath Acharya, and Gopinath told him, you don't understand, but this sannyasi is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Lord Krishna. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, don't try and debate with me. I am the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma means the greatest Pandit in the whole world. Sarvabhauma means the whole world. And then you can tell that to the foolish people, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes. And Gopinath said, no, you do not know, but I know that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Gopinath said, no, there is no avatar of the Lord in Kali Yuga. That's why he's called Tri Yuga. Then Gopinath said, I know who he is, and you do not. And Sarvabhauma said, why is that then? Why do you know, and I don't know? And he said, because I have his grace, and you don't. That's how I know, and you don't know. I've received his grace, his mercy, and through that, I am able to see that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because you do not have that grace, you can't see. So no matter, what a great Pandit you are, no doubt about that, there's no argument about that. But without the Lord's grace, you cannot understand who he is. So this is absolutely essential for us to be able to understand beyond the theoretical understanding. The theoretical understanding, so many people have read and become inspired by Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But if you have the grace of the Lord's devotee, then you can understand Bhagavad Gita, otherwise not. Srila Prabhupada himself said, you must hear Bhagavad Gita from who is a devotee of Lord Krishna. Without hearing from Krishna's devotee, then it'll just be theoretical. From beginning to end, it'll just be a theoretical treatise of spiritual wisdom. But if you hear it from who is devoted to Lord Krishna, who has the grace of Lord Krishna, then you may also be able to understand that the deeper meaning of Bhagavad Gita beyond the theoretical. So, in effect, that means when Krishna says, now I give you divine eyes, he's telling us, I give you divine eyes now. See my mystic opulence. Arjuna is representing us. So it's not just for him. Otherwise, this conversation would have stopped if we were not to have some connection with that Virat Rupa of the Lord. We have that. We feel some connection with that, some inspiration from that, something of what Arjuna felt. We also feel from hearing the Bhagavad Gita, this these verses, they speak to us by the grace of the Lord. They speak to us. It is not dead. And we're not just reading something that happened 5,000 years ago. We're reading something that is a window to the eternal, a part of the eternal, and a part of that, of the infinite, which is also infinite. And somehow, if we approach in the proper way, with an attitude of submission, not an attitude of challenge, but a submissive attitude to the truth, then we can also understand Bhagavad Gita by the mercy of the Lord, and there is no other way.
We have a comment by Shama Priya Didi and a question by Seva Rupa Didi. Wait. Shama Priya Didi says, the more I read the Gita, the more I realize how fortunate Sanjaya was. He was not only a witness to the entire dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna, but also to the universal form of the Lord himself. And then Seva Rupa Didi says, Dandava Pranam Sripad Devashis Prabhu and dear devotees. Can this showing of the universal form of Lord Krishna to Arjuna also be understood as the Guru opening the inner eye of the devotee to be able to receive transcendental knowledge?
Yes, absolutely, is the answer to that question. It is that same, that's called Dibya Gyan, divine knowledge, coming from the Lord, is not ordinary Gyan. And Krishna speaks about that, Gyan Vigyan. So the divine knowledge is Vigyan, in as much as it's realized by the devotee through their heart. As Srila Govinda Maharaj says, heart-to-heart communication. So in this case, the Lord is communicating with us through Arjuna, heart to heart. And as far as Sanjay, this is quite astonishing thing that so many great scholars have appreciation of Bhagavad Gita, but none of them say, "Wait, hang on a minute. This fellow Sanjay, he's not even there. He wasn't even there witnessing that. He's telling, this is like being live streamed to him through consciousness, and he's seeing that. Sanjay is the disciple of Vedavyas, and by the grace of Vedavyas, he's able to see this live stream through his consciousness, and he's telling this to Dhritarashtra. So everything that Arjuna is witnessing, he is witnessing. So yeah, extraordinary. But because the content of the Gita is so profound, nobody can, negate it just by saying, well, he wasn't even there. Sanjay wasn't even there. I find that to be rather extraordinary, and a testament to how powerful, how wonderful, and how universally extraordinary the Bhagavad Gita is.
Actually, I have to ask a follow-up on this a little bit because, like you said, there's so much interest in Gita, and actually so many people study Gita, really everyone in the world. Like if you're some kind of intellectual, you will have read the Gita. That's how it is. But really for us, you know, for sincere seekers wanting to go deeper into the meaning of the Gita and generally scripture, how can we find our way through this immense world of scripture and seek the essence of what spiritual life is truly about?
The Gita itself fosters this search and this understanding. But at the same time, we have to say that before Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj's Bhagavad Gita as it is appeared in the English language, there were at least 20 different translations of Bhagavad Gita in English available in the world. But I can say unequivocally that not one of those translations made anybody into a devotee of Lord Krishna. That's why I stressed before and repeating what Srila Prabhupada himself said, you have to hear Bhagavad Gita from who is a devotee of Krishna. Otherwise, so many scholars and mystics and so many other yogis and so on, they dissect the Gita and tell that it means this, it's an allegory for that, and so many different interpretations. But that's why Srila Prabhupada called his translation Bhagavad Gita as it is, not as I would like it to be or as I think it might be, but as it actually is. And the truth is, right, that it doesn't require any interpretation. Krishna, in speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he says what he means, and he means what he says. It doesn't need any, intellectual jugglery to try and fathom out some deeper meaning. It is deep in itself, and that revelation of Bhagavad Gita comes to the devotee not through scholarship, but through submission to the absolute truth. First requirement for any student of Bhagavad Gita is they must be submissive to Krishna's teachings. Krishna himself is teaching. He's not teaching anyone else's philosophy hidden there within the Gita. He's teaching his own truth, Siddhanta, the Siddhanta of Krishna's teachings. They're self-explanatory, and they do not need any other kind of interpretation. They're not allegorical or symbolic or anything. They are direct instruction to all of those who wish to understand the science of God, and which is ultimately about love of God. So Guru Maharaj says, no other scripture does the Lord so shamelessly plead for himself. Here he's telling everything. He's telling, I am everything. Everything is in me, everything coming from me. I am the cause of everything. In every chapter he's telling this, like shamelessly telling this, and telling us, you surrender to me. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuro mami vaishasi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. This verse it comes twice in the Gita, in the 9th chapter and then again in the 18th chapter. A little variation, but the meaning is the same. Become my devotee. Manmanabhav. Manmanabhav means your heart, your mind, your very self. Give that to me. Bow down to me. Be my devotee. Worship me. Do everything you do as an offering to me, and surely you will come to me. And I promise this to you, Arjuna, because you are priyoshime, you are dear to me. So we may say, yes, of course, Arjuna is dear to Krishna. His name is Krishna Bandhu. He is Krishna's friend. But when Krishna says, you are priyoshime, you are dear to me, he's actually speaking to every one of us. And we are his created parts and parcels, and we exist for that. We exist to live a life of ever-increasing eternal bliss in the company of Lord Krishna. Not just to suffer here in the material world, birth, death, old age, and disease, and then do it again, and then again, and again, and again, and again. That's not why we've been made, why we exist. We exist for something more than that, and that is to come to Lord Krishna and live with him eternally, to be part of his entourage, to take shelter of the Chit Shakti, the spiritual manifestation of this whole creation that is called the Chit Shakti. And as Jiva Shakti, we have within us the ability to accept the shelter of that Chit Shakti. And once a Jiva becomes connected with the Chit Shakti, they are no longer considered as Jiva Shakti, but they are also considered as Chit Shakti. They are not considered even to be marginal anymore. They are part of that worshipable domain, the upper level of Goloka, Vrindavan, Vaikuntha. We are to try to give ourselves to that conception of life and not to return to this material world ever again. We are to go to him and be with him eternally.
Jai. We have a comment by Indubala Didi. Lovely comment. She says, I read 2 different Gitas before meeting the devotees, but only when I listened to this treasure by Srila Guru Maharaj, the Gita touched and opened my heart.
Wonderful.
Yeah. We have a question from Anu Krishna Didi. She says,
Speak a bit louder.
it's about begging for the human form. Arjuna begs Krishna to hide the 1,000-armed form and return to his gentle 4-armed and 2-armed human-like form. What does this tell us about the human mind's capacity to tolerate absolute, unfiltered truth?
Well, it's terrifying. The universal form of the Lord is terrifying, and we cannot tolerate such bombardment within our small capacity we are finite. We cannot comprehend the infinite. And here, in this chapter, Krishna is showing Arjuna the infinite, and in a glimpse, if you like. So, but that's beyond our capacity. Actually, we can't absorb that. We can't tolerate that. It's too much. It's like an overload. Sometimes Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, the voltage is too high. It's too high for us. So that's why Krishna is giving some like grace to Arjuna. You can see it. But Arjuna saying, yeah, I can see it, but it's too much for me. It's too much. I don't want to see it anymore. Okay, you showed it me. That's enough. I don't want to see it anymore. Then that's because it's more than we're made for. We don't have that capacity. This glass can only hold so much liquid. Keep pouring it in there, it's just going to overflow, and that'll be a big mess. But we're something like that. Of course, we're not a glass or a stainless steel cup. We are more than that. But still, we are finite. And the finite cannot know the infinite. It is not within his capacity to be able to know the infinite. But at the same time, the infinite must be able to reveal himself to the finite. So here he's showing that's possible. Thank you. He's showing that that's possible by grace, only by grace. That is part of the infinite, is an infinite capacity to make himself known to us. And Srila Guru Maharaj has given an example, saying that in this room, for example, there may be some insect like an ant running around in here. He's not aware that we exist as other living beings. He's just going on with his ant business. And if he comes in connection with us, then he just sees us as an object, either to go around or go over or go under and get past. He's not aware of our existence as other living beings. But Guru Maharaj says, if one of us will reach down and touch him, then he may feel, oh, someone is touching me, or something is touching me, some living thing is touching me, and get some realization of that. So in the same way, we have no capacity to understand the infinite or to understand God, who is the infinite. But he can, if he desires, he can touch us. And when he touches us, then we can understand. Behold my mystic opulence, I give you divine eyes. This is the Lord touching us in our ant-like way. Oh, someone is touching us. So this is the process of spiritual understanding, is always by grace. It's a grant of grace, and we have no right for it. We have no. We cannot demand it. We can beg for it, but ultimately, all rights reserved by the author. All rights are reserved. But if he so desires, he can make himself known to us. Our finite capacity can be expanded by his grace until we ourselves can take shelter of that infinite, and as I mentioned before, become part of that Chit Shakti ourselves. And that's as if this whole material world never happened. It was just a bad dream. I woke up, wow, what a bad dream I just had. Now let me go and herd the cows with Lord Krishna today. So not just a story, It's a possibility. It is our birthright, actually, our spiritual birthright, but only again by the grant of grace.
We have one more question here, but if anyone else has a question here in the room or online, please let us know. This question is on the topic of already having been slain. Krishna declares, "By me these enemies are already slain. Be merely an instrument." If destiny is predetermined by cosmic time, what is the role and value of human free will?
Well, here we are. That's a very deep question. Free will, it's a debate that's been going on as long as, I mentioned before, this debate, whether God is formless or has form, for as long as that's been going on, this debate has been going on. Predestined or free will. So both exist simultaneously. We have free will, but the Lord's desire overrides that. Nevertheless, it doesn't preclude it. Without free will, there's no possibility of us surrendering to the Lord in loving service. That can only come by free will. So let's not overestimate what our free will means. Basically, free will means you can serve Krishna or you can serve Maya. That's the freedom that you have. Serve Krishna, serve Maya. Which will it be? And everything else is just detail. But that's what it boils down to, our free will. We are thinking that, we're the masters of our own destiny and so on. And that's true. But that destiny only comes down to two paths. The path of surrender to Lord Krishna or the path of subjugation by Maya, illusion. You can choose one or you can choose the other. And that's as much as free will as we have. Now, all the time we're thinking that we're the doer, and that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it's all part of my free will. But that's actually just part of the illusion. It means we've surrendered our free will to Maya. And Maya, that illusion of Maya makes us think that we're the controller of our destiny. But really we're not. Really we're just in a prison, and we're just running around inside the prison trying to make a nicer prison. Maybe most of you here are probably too young to remember the TV show Porridge, which is it was a comedy by Ronnie Barker about people who were in prison. And he was one of the inmates in the prison. And so in the prison, there was one character who's called, I forget the name. It doesn't matter. But he's like in charge of all of the organized crime inside the prison. Grouty, that was his name, Grouty. So you want to do anything in the prison, you have to go through Grouty. And Grouty, he's got a couple of big guys that are his bodyguards, and he's got a very nice cell. In his cell, he has fitted carpet. In his cell, he has a color TV. And in his cell, all of the, the contraband and so on that goes on in prisons, that all comes through him. So he's Mr. Big in the prison. Even the prison guards, the wardens, they answer to him. He's got them, somehow he's got them all paid off, and he thinks that he's got a very nice lifestyle. But the truth is, and that's part of the humor of it, is that with all of that, he's also got a budgie in a cage in there he keeps as his pet. But with all of that, he's still in prison. He's not free. So that's what happens to us, is we are thinking we are free. Maya is such a wonderful illusionist that she, the goddess Maya, pushes us into some situation which we think is by our design. And we think that we're free in doing whatever we want, but we're in the prison. Another name of Maya is Durga, and Durga means prison. And she's the warden of the prison. But it's such a brilliant prison that the inmates don't even realize they're in prison. What better prison than that? Then no one's fighting to get out, as they're all thinking we're perfectly free and going along and doing everything by my desire. But actually we're just being pushed from pillar to post by Maya. When we can wake up from that Maya, we sing this every morning, right? Jeev jago, Gaurachanda bole, Kota nidra, jayo Maya, pishatira kole. So long you've been sleeping on the lap of the witch Maya. Now wake up from that and take up your inner life of Krishna consciousness. When we can do that, then we can become free of the illusion. That will be, that illusion will be lifted from our eyes. We'll be able to perceive what is the truth. Krishna says this in the Gita himself. Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya daratyaya. That this Maya is insurmountable. Nobody can cross Maya except those who are surrendered to me. For those who are surrendered to me, easily they can cross this ocean of Maya. It's told that whole ocean becomes like the amount of water in a calf's hoof print. Easily you can step over that. So this is what our free will means actually. Will we serve Krishna or will we serve Maya? And to think that it's anything more than that is just part of Maya.
Jai. Well, we have a very sweet message from Chaitanya Mai Didi. She's saying, Prabhu Devashis, your katha is too much ananda. My humble and full obeisances. With a lovely smiley face.
Okay. But actually whatever I know is only by the grace of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. I don't have any knowledge myself. I'm only repeating what they say. And I am fully surrendered to the service of Maya. What can I say? Just now and again I can kind of raise my head above the water, and take a gasp of breath and see what our gurus have taught us. And then next moment I'm back underneath, falling below the waterline again. That's our life. But we have faith that one day, by their grace, they will take us up from that. And we may be able to go there. Once when we were sitting with Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Navadvip, and he was talking about life of love with Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, and so beautiful. He was describing that, and then maybe 2 hours, very heart-rending talk, and beautiful and inspiring. And then he said, "Any questions?" And one lady at the back, she put her hand up. "Maharaj, yes. Can we all go there?" Yes, we can all go there. So this we have to remember, that we're not dealing with an impersonal absolute. We're dealing with a person. The absolute is a person, and that person is so beautiful, so kind, so gracious, and does not have one iota of malice towards any one of us within him, only wanting our best fortune. And for that reason, he's given us this free will. That because he could easily compel us to serve him. He could do that, but that's not what he wants. That would just make us into, Hare Krishna automatons, robots. But he wants that with the freedom of our heart, we will give ourselves to him. And that will not only give us our greatest fortune, but that will give him his divine pleasure. And our purpose actually is only to give divine pleasure to him. Just we need to wake up to that.
Are we allowed to squeeze in one more question?
Yeah.
And this is from Shama Priya Didi. Do I understand correctly that the universal form is so all-encompassing and complete, yet it cannot be considered the highest form, at least because it is impossible to have any personal relationship with the Lord in that form? In that form, no rasa can fully manifest except awe and deep veneration.
Completely correct. Completely. Yeah, this is what Arjun saying to Krishna. Yeah, I've seen all that, I understand all that, but I want to see that form that I can embrace and love and serve, and I want that form of the Lord. And only in that form can then Krishna manifest his original nature. Only in that form can all 5 rasas be reciprocated with us. And we can only reciprocate all 5 rasas with that form, not with the Vishwarup. That's not possible. That would just be like trying to give your love to the city of London or something. This is like some impersonal concept. Although it's filled with variety and personality and we see no end to it, there is no possibility of any real intimate relationship there in any way, shape or form. Only awe and reverence and fear. Hare Krishna. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jai Krishna Arjuna ki jai, Jai Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai, Jai all the assembled devotees ki jai, Sri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bhava.